Dominic Keating. I played Lieutenant Malcolm Reed on Enterprise, as you probably know, and you are listening to the NX 7062 podcast. Enjoy.
Hello. This is the NX 7062. You know what? I had to stop myself because I think I might just have to have Dominic recut that because that's part of one of my announcements tonight. But this is a test. You guys can hear me, right? Hi, all. You guys can hear me? Good evening, Robert and Dave. And let's see. Who else have I got? Oh, is Uncle Hairball here? Nancy's here. Let's see. War Dog from the Blue Skies. All right. Cool. All right. Yeah, for some reason I went in and I went into my thing and I looked and it wasn't coming out of the right speaker for the correct speakers. It wasn't coming out of my headset. So I just had to jiggle that around a little bit. Anyway, here I am. It's a good night. And one of the reasons, see, now this is, I don't know if I'm going to be able to, Ed, just in time. Sit tight. Okay. So a little frazzled tonight for some reason. It's been a weird day. Okay. So let us get this show on the road. That right up there, that thing that says NX 7062 podcast is going to change. And I'm going to tell you why in just a little bit. But let's start with, I put my announcements in order. So let's do number one. I heard from Jonathan Del Arco today, and we are moving him to May 9th. So he is not going to be with us next week. He is moving to May 9th. Hey, Faith, so good to see you. So Jonathan Del Arco, not next week, May 9th. Mark your calendars. I told him it was okay because obviously, how do you tell a Borg no, right? It's not a good idea to tell a Borg no. So anyway, so Jonathan's going to be with us on May 9th. Be sure to mark your calendars. The other Trek person I talked to, hi, JR. Arrived. I didn't hear you loud and clear because LOL, I didn't turn up the volume. Yeah, that usually helps if you turn up the volume, JR. That I can't control. Certain things I can, that I can't. Okay. Anthony Montgomery. For anybody that is going to Vegas, Anthony Montgomery will have copies of his book. So if you are looking to get maybe a personalized Uber autographed copy of his book, Anthony Montgomery will be bringing them to Las Vegas. He just confirmed that for me. And he wanted me to remind everybody that he is coming out with his audiobook after the release on August 1st. After the hard copies, he is going to be doing an audiobook. So, hey, Faith, well, be safe in the storms. Jersey's been getting some too, so we're supposed to get some today, but knock on wood, not happening now. All right, so that's announcement number one. Announcement number two. Announcement number three, I'm changing the name of the show. Little bit. You see where it says the NX 7062 podcast? You heard where Dominic said the NX 7062 podcast. It's going away. It is now going to be transmissions from the NX 7062 because I've decided technically this show is not a podcast. I don't do an audio version because I talk to all of you guys. And the only way it makes sense is if you watch it on YouTube. So I don't do an audio version because sometimes I read, sometimes I read what you guys say. Sometimes I don't. So the show is now officially going to be called Transmissions from the NX 7062. And next season, thank you, Lasso. Next season, I am going to have some updated graphics maybe and some other things to go along with it. But the first thing I'm doing is changing the name, and that's going to be happening. Now that you guys all know, it's going to be happening. And now for the biggest, thank you, Nancy. Appreciate that. It also looks really good on a banner. That's kind of where I ended up deciding to change the name. And why, you might ask, was I looking to put something on a banner? Because I am going to Vegas and I am going to have a booth. And it is all thanks to the one and only Ed Milner, who has joined us tonight. Ed, I get to publicly thank you so much for your help in getting me to Vegas and in getting me the booth. And I am going to be in Vegas. And thank you so much, Ed. I appreciate that. So much. You have no idea. My heart is just so full with your generosity. So thank you, Ed. Everybody, thank Ed right now, everybody say thank you to Ed, please, in the chat, because he deserves it. And I really appreciate it. So yes, I am going. Yes, I am going to be applying for a booth. Hopefully, because I know people's, and because none of my stuff is in violation of any licensing rights, I am going to not only have a booth, but I'm going to have some merch, some probably what's going to end up being maybe Vegas exclusive merch. So there's going to be merch, there's going to be little giveaways. And I have, well, hello from Florida. How are things in Florida, Myth? Thank you so much for joining us. Glad you could be here. And I have a really weird question. And the only way I can get an answer to this is to go public. So I did find like the perfect little on-air sign for my Ed, you're just awesome. So thank you again. And they appreciate it too. So thank you. Yes, I am going to have stickers. I am going to have. You inspired me today, Lasso, because I was cleaning up my desk and I actually found the sticker that you sent me. So you inspired me, and yes, I'm going to have stickers. And I know exactly who I'm going to have make my stickers. I have a very good friend who's going to do all of my merch for me going forward. You know him because he does all of Chase Masterson's merch. The one and only Raymond Lister is going to be doing my merch. I am so excited. Like I said, there's going to be limited edition merch at the booth. And there's going to be some giveaways, things like stickers and pins. I still have these amazing pins that JR did for me, so I'm going to be doing pins as well. But yeah, I was looking at the banner, and the banner with just my logo and the NX lettering just looked sort of blah. So I thought it needs something. The show needs something. And technically a podcast is an audio thing that people download. And I'm like, I just do this. So that's why I decided to change it up a little bit. All the socials are going to change. There's going to be a banner. But to get back to my thing. So I found this perfect little on-air sign for the booth. Like I told you guys, I wanted to have a little on-air sign. So when I was doing my live streaming, I could turn it on and people walking by would Oh, thank you. Thanks, Dave. I will tell Raymond you said that. I appreciate that. Oh, that's awesome. We'll stop by the booth for some merch. Would love that. Hold on. Let's see. Okay. So my brain just okay. So I found this perfect little sign. I am going to get back on track. And I put it on my Amazon list, and I posted to social media that whoever got this for me, if they were going to be in Vegas, that they would be my first streaming interview. I'd sit down with them and I would interview them. And then I looked, and it is off my Amazon wish list, and it looks like it's been purchased because it says need one, have one. But it also said that it's no longer available. So if you are out there, yes, JR, exactly. If you are out there, I love that. Yes. So if I should just keep that up for the whole show, that's awesome. Okay. Thank you, Nancy. I appreciate that. Because I didn't. Well, okay. So, hey, Travis. All right. So here's another thing, Nancy. I'm glad you said that. Thank you, because I was just worried because I couldn't tell. It's like all of a sudden it's not available, but it said that I'm getting one. So I didn't know. And I just wanted to make sure because that was weird. And I just wanted to make sure that. And okay. So if you are not going to be in Vegas, Nancy, and Nancy, I have to admit, I do not know where you live. You have another option. Would you be able to make it to Long Island for Long Island Trek? It's May 31st, June 1st, and 2nd, because I have another offer. I have a couple more things on my Amazon wish list. I found the most awesome, perfect microphone for the booth. Perfect. So there's battery packs, because trust me when I tell you, you do not want to pay for electricity at your booth. Power for a booth for 4 days from the venue is about as much as the booth. It's ridiculous. So I'm bringing a lot of battery packs because I'm going to have things that obviously I need to charge. Anyway, so there's some battery packs. There's this beautiful microphone. So offer stands. Anybody that gets anything from me off of my wish list that I'm going to be using at the booth, you now have a choice of either being on camera. I can stream. You'll be in the live stream, one of the first people I interview on camera, or I can get you passes for Long Island Trek. If you're going to be but please do not tell me that you can go to Long Island Trek unless you're pretty sure or really sure, because I don't want to take tickets away. But Stephanie Gangon, who was on the show a few months back, said that I could give away some tickets. So if you can go to Long Island. And then the third option is I will send you a t-shirt or other gift. I'll find you another little gift just to say thank you. But right now I could just really use some help with the wish list. So you have 3 options. If you get me something off my wish list: interview in Vegas, a ticket to Long Island Trek, or maybe a little gifty. I'll send you a little gifty. So those are the 3 options. You can pick one. If you get me something off my wish list, just as a little thank you for doing me a huge favor and helping me go overboard on my luggage. That's the other thing, because then my luggage will probably end up being overweight. I'm already worrying about the banner that I have to buy, and it's 13 ounces, and I'm already worrying about the banner. But anyway, I would not be able to do this once again without Ed. So another huge thank you to Ed. And now on to sad news, in case anybody has missed it, which I doubt. Lower Decks, final season this fall. All right, Nancy, you got it. Link to wish list. All right, Faith, I can do that. They canceled Lower Decks. Is that not like sad? That's sad. I'm sad. They canceled Lower Decks. It's very depressing. It's like the best Trek. It's Trek that pokes fun at Trek, and it has all those Enterprise. And it has all of those Enterprise. Gosh, my mind just went blank. Easter eggs. That's the word I was looking for. Actually, yeah. You know what? I thought I had a QR code for it here. There's my QR code. That's the Amazon wish list. QR code. Just scan the code. Easy breezy lemon squeezy. I don't know. Maybe 5. Maybe 5 is it. Disco ends at 5. Now Lower Decks is ending at 5. They just renewed Strange New Worlds for, I think, it's their 5th season. So I don't know. Maybe it's 5. Well, yeah. It is abrupt, isn't it? They're just like bang, bang. Well, I don't know what the hell's going on at Paramount. Yeah, exactly. Anything to get picked up. That's true. The hashtags already save Lower Decks is already out there. Listen, Prodigy could use an animated friend over at Netflix, right, guys? I say we target Netflix. You know, I think Prodigy could use a little Mariner in its life. Everybody can use a lot more Mariner in their lives. So, you know, let's keep it alive. So many actors are fans of Trek, and you know, they really belong. They really belong in the family, and they really belong to just lost it. They really deserve to stay. There's the words I was looking for. I'm sorry, guys. My brain's been like that all day. Okay. Shipping things to STLV is not really necessary for what I'm going to do for my booth, to be honest. And there is no guarantees, because if you ship it ahead of time, you got to ship it to the hotel, and you've got to trust the hotel to watch it for you. And sometimes they charge for that. Because it's not, I know Creation does it. Like, I used to work for Creation. Creation has pallets upon pallets And if you watch them break down a show, they break down a show, then they stick 8.5 by 11 pieces of paper all over it, and with the next show labeled on it. And then they shrink wrap the 8 by 10 pieces of paper into the pallets, and then they ship them. That's one thing. Me shipping literally like 5 pieces, I would sooner take it in my luggage than ship things there, because it's going to get there before I do, and I don't want to. Worse than having something break in my luggage, which I doubt, because I'll pack it, and chances are I'll pack it in the stuff that I'm taking on the plane with me and not in my suitcase that I check. I have to trust other people with it, and that I just can't do. Let's see. Mythbuster says, I was wondering if season end has to do with Paramount trying to sell off their studio and properties. That's interesting. I don't know. Myth, that's a really, really good question that I really, really don't have an answer to. That is a really good question, though. I'd have to look into that. I mean, there's a lot of theories going around, I'm sure. Whether Paramount will ever tell us the specific. Yes, Dave, you're right. Anybody who's smart will snatch it up. Anybody that knows anything. This is the thing. If you know anything about Trekkies, they're a great audience to bring in. You know? I mean, I don't understand why. I don't get it, but it is what it is. And SNW, who knows? SNW may only go 5 seasons. Maybe that's their new thing. Instead of 7, it's 5. The thing that kills me is that these seasons are so short. I mean, back in Enterprise's day, it was 20 odd episodes, right? And now it's like half that. So it's like, which is why I was always joking that Enterprise still ran longer than Discovery. Discovery had an extra season, but the seasons were shorter. Yeah, see, now that see, exactly. That's awesome. Because you've got someplace to go where it's safe. But I'd have to ship it to the hotel. I mean, I do know 1 or 2 people in Vegas, but again, I know me, and I don't want to trust anything. This is my very first booth that I've ever had anywhere. So I don't want to trust anything to anybody but me. And honestly, it's going to be my little on-air sign. It's going to be my little table runner. It's going to, the microphone and a couple of battery packs and a couple other little things. And then Raymond's bringing whatever merch we work out together. Raymond's going to bring it with him. He drives in from LA. So, yeah, so I really don't have anything major to bring that's going to be heavy. And like I said, I'm sure I can fit it into the stuff that I take onto the plane with me. And then my checked bag will just have, my clothes and my makeup and such. Let's see. And I heard is going to write for Starfleet Academy and couldn't do both. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, she's a pretty prolific writer. She talked a lot about writing during her panel in San Francisco. So yeah, maybe. Let's see. War Dog. I say that Lower Decks is ending because of the clueless dips at suits who don't have it. This is also it could just be a mixture of everything, right? Hi, Kyle. Thanks for joining us. Lower Decks. Yes, exactly. Absolutely. Agree 100%. Lower Decks. JR, tell us if it's 5. I feel we can't really get fully invested when they suddenly pull. That's also true. It's hard to get that invested, and then all you're doing is waiting for the rug to get pulled out from under you, right? I hate that. Smart move to ship stuff to where you're going so it doesn't get delayed in the luggage train. Yes, but again, it's going in my carry-on stuff. I'm taking it on the plane with me so I don't have to worry about those baggage handlers throwing shit around. I did actually have a handle get broken on a piece of luggage way back when with US Air. And they pay for it, but yeah, I wouldn't. It's like when you move houses. It's like when you move, You don't put your stereo equipment on the moving truck. You put your stereo equipment in your car. It's like your animals, your stereo, and your stereo equipment all go in the car, and then everything else pretty much can go on the truck. Unfortunately, like if I had like a huge truck, I would have also taken my TVs. But yeah, there's just stuff that doesn't go where people are. I had the worst when I moved from Massachusetts to here. Some of my shit got broken. I picked the wrong movers. That was on me. Some of my shit got broken, and it was awful. So yeah, the stuff that I really need, the booth stuff's going to go. The booth stuff is going with me. If somehow I end up with way too much stuff that I don't think I can take on the plane with me, which I doubt, like I said, my booth's going to be pretty simple. But if I do, I have friends in LA, and I would sooner ship it to my friends in LA. Maybe. That's the plan. That's the plan. The only thing you have to be careful of, and honestly, if my stuff wasn't going in my carry-on, my big life hack is that you can get it checked for free at the gate if it's too big. But this, I know exactly what I'll do. I just had the perfect idea. All right, I'm good. I know exactly how I'm going to make sure that my stuff gets on the plane. Light bulb just went off. I'm awesome sometimes. But yeah, so thanks guys, because just talking about it got my brain working, and now I'm good. Okay. So who wants to talk a little bit about Discovery, right? Okay, so Star Trek Discovery. I finally watched all 3 episodes. For some reason, I didn't think it was premiering until the 11th. So I just sat down yesterday, watched all 3 episodes. So they're all very fresh in my head. So we could talk about the premiere episodes of Discovery. I thought that they were fantastic. I thought the scene where they stopped the avalanche, and y'all know I'm talking about this out of order. I thought the scene where they stopped the avalanche with the 2 ships going up and then like having their shields touch, that is up there with my favorite of all scenes ever. My favorite scene in any Star Trek across the board is when Columbia and Enterprise shared their warp field in, don't ask me to name the episode. It's the Klingon episode. It's Affliction, or the other one. The second, did it start in Affliction and end in the other one? Anyway, that episode, and they were sharing their warp field in the 2 ships, and then you see the little baby Trip going between the 2, and he's spinning around. He's watching all the stars go, and Malcolm's in the brig. That is my favorite. That is my absolute favorite scene of all time. But then here come 2 ships stopping a freaking avalanche and saving thousands of lives. That definitely ranks up there too. The other time I kind of got that trippy feeling was when Burnham was on the outside of that ship trying to get it to stop, because she's in the middle of a warp bubble, and I'm just like flashing back to those amazing scenes in Enterprise. Not that they were equivalent, but it just really, that's where my brain went. I don't know where your brain went, but that's where my brain went. Tilly's back, and I couldn't be happier. She deserves to be back on the final season, so I'm glad they had her back, because they didn't know this was the final season until they started filming, right? So I'm glad they brought Tilly back. I love Tilly energy. I missed Tilly's crazy energy. I thought her first couple of scenes when she was drunk were hysterical. And she's ordering coffee and then not drinking it and then lying on her bed and just being drunk. And I loved that. I thought that was so Tilly and just so much fun. And there's that definite, you didn't really see that too much in Legacy Trek. So I loved that. I love that those moments. Let's see. What else did I want to say? Okay. I love the fact that they backed it up 800 years. It's like now we've got the progenitors involved. We've got Picard. We've got, Romulans from back in the days of unification. So I thought that was really cool. I completely forgot about the progenitors, but of course, the minute they started talking about progenitors, all I heard in my head was cogenitor, right? Oh, for some reason, my chat stopped moving. Let's see. Or have the Borg been trying to invade you? The things going in and out with the chair or background gives me Borg vibes. That is not on purpose. It's just the way this background works. I haven't found, the best way to do it. When there's no green screen behind me, it's even worse. So it's something I definitely need to work on. Oh, JR. I'm Elmer Surveyor for Sci-Fi Sisters and screwed up the address, and it was on. Said, man, we were on the phone yelling at them, having them to bring it to the hotel. Yeah, see, that's. Yes, JR, you're absolutely right. The disco soundtrack is awesome. The disco soundtrack also has shades of legacy music in it, which I absolutely love. That is Myth. It is literally my favorite scene. It has to be my favorite scene. Yes. I love their spacesuits. I really do. I think their spacesuits are awesome. Absolutely, Tilly love. I'm just catching up because my chat stopped auto scrolling. Oh, there you go. There you go. That's so cool. I know one of them is Affliction. I can't remember what the other one was called. Great TV drunk. Oh, Lasso, you were so right. She's probably the best TV drunk is Karen Walker on a regular basis, but there's an episode of MASH where Margaret gets completely smashed that I just watched the other day, where she says, I'm not as drunk as you think I am, or I'm not as think as you drunk I am, which I loved. Maybe a little cheesy, maybe, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was a great scene. No, your keyboard's not broken. All right. So yes, so that first episode came back hard. Great music, amazing visual effects. Oh, that's a really good question, Myth. Which of the new Paramount shows has the best music? I really like Lower Decks musical scores. It sounds so cinematic. That is a really good question. I think Discovery's very nostalgic, like especially the opening is very nostalgic. I might have to agree with you about the cinematic quality of Lower Decks. I'll have to go back and watch a couple episodes and get back to you, because right now I'm drawing a mental blank on SN's great. Just so y'all know, I own all 8 discs of the Enterprise soundtrack. So, I mean, that's where my heart lies. And my two favorite, and I think I've mentioned this before, my 2 favorite songs, 8 discs worth of music, and I can name Bound, the Mirror Universe theme, and Heroic, which was the only good thing to come out of These Are the Voyages, was that mashup of Archer's theme and Where My Heart Will Take Me and original Trek scores. Those are my 3. Yes, Kyle, there are 8 discs. There are 8 discs of Enterprise music. Came out in 2 volumes. 8 discs. I kid you not, and I have them all. Although Strange New Worlds, let's see. Although Strange New Worlds has the musical episode and nice homages to other Trek series. Yeah, I'm not. I mean, the musical episode was good and everybody was uber talented. I'm just not sure how I feel about the episode as a whole. Oh yeah, see, you know what? When I was in school back in like 2015 to 2018, I can't study in silence. I think I told some of you guys before. I can't study in silence. So I needed something, but I couldn't have the TV on and I couldn't have music with words. So I made a Spotify playlist of just soundtracks. So a lot of it is Trek and other science fiction. Firefly's in there somewhere. There's Xena's in there. There's a whole bunch of really cool stuff in that playlist. Season 3. I listen to Picard season 3 regularly. Oh, that's cool. Prodigy has a great score. Picard, that's awesome. And let's see. I have a civilian Klingon cosplay outfit, and I do a drunk Klingon very well. That I will have to see one of these days, Robert. Somebody needs to get that on video. if they don't already have it. Oh, wait, I missed. That's what I was aiming for. Sounds like it's perfect for a long road trip. Long road trips. I still have an iPod. People laugh at me. I still have an iPod that's got, 1,700, which is not a lot. Yes, all 8 discs of Enterprise are on there. So yeah, I do. Cool Rider is on my iPod. It was not, I needed an instrumental playlist. So no, it was not on that study playlist, but it is on my iPod. I do listen to it in the car. I sang that for you at karaoke last year in Vegas. So you don't get to ask me about Cool Rider, because you know how much I love Cool Rider. Oh, that's a good way to put it, Robert. That is a really good way to put it. JR, let's see. Music with no words gets me working faster. Love a good movie score playlist. Yeah. Yeah, see, working faster. You just have to be careful, because there are also some songs on the radio that actually make me drive faster, which is never good. Some Pink Floyd music, like Run Like Hell, makes me actually do gas the car a little harder. What else did I like about Discovery? We're supposed to be talking about Discovery. Okay. And I have said this before. I will say it again. Not a big fan of the Star Wars sequels. I love Star Wars, but the Star Wars sequels were not the best. But who remembers when they were looking for Luke and they had that partial map, and then R2-D2 woke up at the end of the first one and toddled over and just went and shot that little teeny tiny piece of the missing map into the entire map. So everybody's like, oh my God, it's Luke Skywalker. Yes, exactly. Pedal to the floor. That's what this artifact reminded me of when they started putting it together with that one arc-shaped piece. I was like, oh my God, that's just reminding me of that map from The Force Awakens. All right, Myth. Do you prefer the Riker reference to Enterprise and Lower Deck Season 1 or Strange New World episode, Those Old Scientists reference to Enterprise? Those old scientists. I almost cried when they talked about the fact that there was a piece of the NX-01 in the 1701. I almost cried. I thought the Riker reference was really funny, and it poked fun at like the worst episode of Enterprise, the one that I still will not watch to this day, because like I said, heroic is the only good thing that came out of that. Hashtag Trip's not dead. But no, definitely the because it came out of nowhere. It came out of nowhere, and it was such a heartwarming thing to think that there was a piece of the NX-01 in the 1701. So definitely These Old Scientists. In fact, that is probably right now my favorite Strange New Worlds episode. I think Enterprise deserves a little bit more referencing in Strange New Worlds, since it's closer, closest in the timeline, but they won't go that. I'm sure they will not go that far, but that's just my personal opinion. Oh, look, Ted, my little Ted's holding my notes for me. Okay, so Saru, he's getting married, and I love it. That engagement was so adorable. I'm sorry. He's like, are you asking me to marry you? Tarina, oh my God. The sequels are my least favorite. I prefer The Last Jedi. Oh, that's tough. Okay. Star Wars sequels are my least favorite. I prefer The Last Jedi over the other two films. Okay. Oh, and you know what? You said that, and I forgot J.J. Abrams did both that in 2009 Trek. I just posted this meme the other day, and I should have shared it on my Facebook, on my show page. There's a meme from 2019 with Thanos at the top saying, "I'm the biggest villain of 2019," and then the bottom half of the picture is the Emperor saying, "Hold my beer." So I'm sorry, but Rise of Skywalker was not that great of a movie, but anything the Emperor's in, I am behind 100%. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see. I got some good feels seeing that they have a picture of the NX-01 in their conference room. Yeah, exactly. NX-01 deserves Mariner taking credit for paying attention to the museum tour. Oh, yeah, that was awesome. I need to sit down and rewatch that episode. I absolutely need to sit down and rewatch that episode. Let's see. Who's sad that Booker and Michael are taking a break or calling it quits or whatever? I think they're going to be back together by the end. But the minute that they didn't jive on that one thing where they were going to go into Fred's and they usually know exactly which maneuver to pick and they couldn't agree, I was sad. I'm like, they're ending it. If they can't agree on this, they're ending it. There you go, Dave. As Muhammad Noor and I like to say to each other, Enterprise love. Enterprise love. Lasso, why are you sad? Because Discovery's ending and you haven't even watched one episode? Yeah, that's true. That was cute. That was cute. But still doesn't make up for the fact that was a shit episode. Sorry. They run it on H&I. That is always the one episode I will skip. I will watch Terror Prime and Jesus, I never remember the name of the other episode. Demons and Terror Prime. And that's it. I'm like, all right, wake me when it's time for Broken Bow. Exactly. Hashtag Trip lives. Or hashtag Trip's not dead. Take your pick. I'm behind either one of them. He's alive in the novels. Connor said, he'd do it again. So yes, Trip lives. Trip lives. And okay, so let's see what else. Okay, the second episode of Discovery was good, and we got Action Saru, which was awesome because when was the last time we saw him shoot those spikes? So that was very cool. But and then I thought, oh yay, they're going to Beta Z. Oh no, wait, they're going to Trill. The rest of that episode, I'm like, let's just get to Trill. Let's just get to Trill. I felt the same way about 2 Days and 2 Nights, the Enterprise episode. When you rewatch it and 2 Days and 2 Nights is coming up, but the first time they mention Risa is like 3 episodes before they get there, and when it's annoying because you're like, can you just get to Risa? No, we've got 2 episodes before you can watch the Risa one. Not that I don't have the Blu-ray, but it's still annoying if you're watching them in order on TV, because 2 Days and 2 Nights is bloody hysterical. It's up there as one of my favorite episodes. So yeah, once I realized they were going to Trill, I'm like, that's it. I don't care about the rest of this episode. I just want you all going to Trill. That's all I'm saying. Let's see what else. Oh, the pacing. Yes, I do like the pacing. I like how it's like, all right, we're following the clues and it's only taking us one episode to get from clue to clue to clue so far. I like that. Speaking of Trip lives, let's see. What's JR's wish? Speaking of Trip lives, wouldn't it be cool if the Star Trek 4 Origin would have an Enterprise NX story? Yes, that would be very cool. Somebody called J.J. Abrams right now. I mean, he put an NX-01 in, what's his name's office? I always do this. Marcus's office. If you have to be paying attention, but there's an NX-01 in the dude's office, and then of course we all know at the end of Beyond when Idra Elbas is yelling about the Xindi and he was a Mako and he's yelling about the Xindi and the Romulan War. Trill is fine and good, but I could have used some Beta Z at some point. Yeah, I wouldn't have minded if they had gone to Beta Z, especially considering that they're streaming. I would have loved for them to have gone to Beta Z and seen a wedding, because it's streaming. They can go a little further than they can on regular television. So I would have loved to have seen them end up at a Beta Z wedding for some reason. Like the clue was somewhere with somebody who was getting married. That would have been awesome. Okay. Do you prefer TNG Captain's Holiday or Enterprise 2 Days and 2 Nights. I prefer the Adventure and the Bosch and Captain's Holiday. Okay, Myth, you're new to this. You're new to this, and I am so excited that you're here. And Captain's Holiday had some great stuff. The whole thing with the Horgon and Riker, that was awesome. That was awesome. But if you really want to get to know me, then you will understand that Trip and Malcolm in their blue underwear tied up in a basement was probably my favorite thing, and Captain Picard in his ricin outfit didn't do it for me, but Trip and Malcolm, and the total irony of Hoshi being the one that hooked up. I loved the irony of Hoshi being the one that hooked up, and the whole thing with Phlox trying to hibernate. And so yeah, for the most Enterprise, for me, Enterprise wins. Let's see. We really haven't seen Beta Z on screen that much, if ever. Yeah, that's probably it. Menage a Trois was probably the only one, Kyle. I think you're absolutely right. Let's see. Oh, here's the question I wanted to ask all you guys. As she's reading the poem on the planet and she's like talking about like souls, and they're like, oh, it's Beta Z. I'm like, yay, Beta Z. And then like, no, wait, there's a fifth verse, and they find it. And the minute she starts talking, I figured it was Trill before she finished. Before she said it. Who else knew that it was Trill? Who else figured out it was Trill when they realized there was a fourth verse? I was disappointed, but Trill was cool. Yeah, that's about it. And it wasn't him, and it was Majel. No, it was Majel and Deanna, because when they got beamed onto the Ferengi ship, they got beamed on without their clothes. See, yeah, I knew I couldn't have been the only one, right, Robert? Okay. So I loved it. I loved when Reno, Adira was all nerves. I loved when Adira was all nerves and Reno was trying to talk to her, and Reno picked up on exactly what was going on. And she starts talking to Stamets, and he's completely clueless. And she's like, "Hello, Space Dad. There's a breakup. Something's gonna happen." I thought that was very honest, very sweet, very tender moment. Like, dude, you're just totally blind. Let's see. I think Hoshi's storyline in 2 Days and 2 Nights was a highlight, but I wanted more time on Risa. I wish that had been a 2-parter episode with how much they packed into that episode. That would have been interesting. I agree. That would have been a fun 2-parter. Instead of like a cliffhanging 2-parter, it would have been a fun 2-parter. And okay, something about Dominion battle. Let's see. Trouble in Paradise, Space Dad. There you go. I love she called him Space Dad. And it was so sweet and so sad watching them decide that the best thing that they could do was to part ways. Yes, we need more. I was thinking the same thing from the very first episode. I'm like, where's Tig? We need Tig. In fact, I just heard she was on Sirius, the Beatles channel. She was one of the celebrities giving her favorite Beatles songs. And I heard her voice. I'm like, I want you on Discovery. Where are you? So yes, always need more Tig. Always need more Tig. I also loved when Kubler was taken over by Janal. He's like, all right, you got to give me a minute. It's been 800 years. I'm going to go take a walk. I'm not beaming anywhere. I'm going to go take a walk in this body of this guy that really works out. I just thought that was fantastic. I loved watching Wilson play somebody besides Kubler. It's always fun to watch that. I've talked about that. I love watching the Mirror Universe episodes because the actors get to play themselves, but not. So this one is he got to be Kubler-esque, but Jamal, I thought that was great. Yeah, he was so fun to watch. And then he's just chilling out on that rock like, oh, hey, you survived. How was it? That whole thing about and that test. I love how it's like we're leading you to the most powerful thing in the universe. I mean, we all thought the Genesis wave was awesome, but it failed. We all thought, this is bigger. This is bigger than Genesis. This is huge. And it has like the ultimate parry. Really works out. That was the best line of that entire thing. Yes, Wilson is definitely ripped as fuck. See, my show, I can do that. I'm glad they drew that into his dialogue. He got to act outside of himself. Absolutely. And it was so much fun. And it was so much fun to watch. That's exactly it. He owned it. He totally owned it. And I love it. He's like psychologically traumatizing is like my wheelhouse. Like, yeah, I'll do it. I was surprised. I thought Adira might have volunteered, but no, I love the fact that it was Coogler and it was perfect. And like I said, if Adira had volunteered, then they wouldn't have had, sorry, Adira is a they. Adira and Gray wouldn't have had their time together, so it makes sense that they didn't volunteer. So, yeah, I thought that was fantastic. I thought that whole episode was great, and he's just hanging out on the rock like, oh, nice that you survived, and we're testing you. We have to test you. We have to know before before you get there, you're going to go through all these tests. You survived 1, now you survived 2. What is it? There's like 3 or 4 more pieces that we've got to go find, and we've got to figure this all out. So I thought that was pretty fantastic. So that covers how I feel about she is already joined to a symbiote. Adira is not joined to a symbiote. First of all, Adira is a they, and they're not they still don't have the symbiote. Didn't it go back to Gray? Gray's got it, I thought. Am I wrong? Oh, but we got before we move in, because there's one more thing I need to cover before the end of the show. I'm really interested to see what happens with Raynor. I'm really interested to see what happens with Raynor, because we're not just dealing with somebody that's salty. We're dealing with somebody that's salty and just took a demotion to do that. Why did I think that they gave Gray's symbiote back? Because, all right, I'm gonna have to go rewatch it, because I didn't think so. I thought that they took this. I don't know. This is what happens when there's all this time lapse. Yes, thanks, Kyle. That's what I thought. I was thinking about this. Adira had it when Gray was part of their consciousness, but then when they put Gray in the new body, that they gave Gray the symbiote back. Yeah, they gave Gray a synthetic body, but I thought the symbiote was able to move. I didn't think. All right, thanks, War Dog. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. Somebody can look it up. Nobody won. Yes, that was yes. It's going to be interesting watching Raynor. It's going to be very interesting watching him, because you know what? I get why Michael wants him as her number 1, but is he going to be able to adjust? I have a feeling we're going to see the two of them butt heads, because he's going to forget that he's second in command. So I think the two of them, can are going to butt heads. Michael didn't want him because she doesn't want a yes man, but they're going to butt heads because he's going to think he's the captain. Yeah. Yeah, the new body can hold this. All right. So yes, they gave Gray back. Right. So that's why Gray gets to be in the whole. That's why Gray is where Gray is. So, but yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm really looking forward to that. And I think Michael's going to forget that he's not Saru. All right, hold on. You know what? Tell me that somebody's not Googling this right now. Let's see. A human has the tall symbiont in Star Trek after her partner Gray dies. Gray's the transgender male who joins before being killed, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, all right, but that doesn't... How is Gray separable from the tall symbiont? I don't understand how this is. There's a whole Reddit about how it's possible, because if we all remember from back in DS9 days, they said that once a symbiont is paired with a host, they can't be separated. Remember, Jadzia almost died in the John Glover episode. If I've never said this before, John Glover refers to the Trill as looking like a turkey penis. Once you hear that, you cannot unhear it, and you cannot unsee it the next time you see a Trill symbiont outside of its host. But humans can't, at least back in Riker's day, humans in the 23rd, humans couldn't be permanent hosts. Riker almost died hosting a Trill. So yes, but at least, Lasso, the chances of you seeing a Trill is smaller than the rest of this company seeing a Trill. All right, so somebody go figure that out, because I can't take any more time like trying to Google it. All right, because the other thing that I wanted to talk about. Never that until today, and it's gonna stick. Yes. Oh, Lasso. Lasso, this is why I love having you here, because I love mixing fandoms. Trill, the first one, because it's a turkey penis, not a little greenish, glittery thing that Andros had to capture. So I just started watching that episode, by the way, on Max. 10 points for anybody who knows what the hell Lasso and I are talking about. Don't Google it. Don't do anything. 10 points if anybody knows what the Skrull are besides me and Lasso. Don't Google. No cheating. The other thing I wanted to mention, Gray's consciousness was later unjoined from Tal and transferred into a synthetic body, resurrecting him when Guardian asked if Tal gave his consent to the procedure. Adira confirmed that Tal did. All right, so does that mean that Tal's still in Adira? Does that mean Tal's still in Adira, I guess? Yeah, Memory Alpha is awesome, Kyle. Thank you. I can't find a definitive answer. The writers... Nobody knows. Nobody knows. That's so funny. Nobody knows. That's great. Maybe because nobody knows the definitive answer. Reddit. I told you there's a whole thing on Reddit about it. They moved Tal. So Tal's in another host that's not Adira and not Gray. Okay. All right. Before we go, you guys let me know about that. But I do want to mention Manhattan Transfer. And I think since Jonathan's not going to be here next week, we might just talk about this a little bit more next week, because I really want to talk about I just had this. There it is. Because the one thing that I really, really wanted to talk about was Manhattan Transfer. I talked about it. No longer carries a tall symbiont. All right. Thanks, War Dog. So I've mentioned Manhattan Transfer before. It is a new science fiction show that has a huge list. Oh, terrible. That's hysterical. That has, War Dog, that's awesome, because that's exactly where I'm going. It's a new sci-fi show, and they are doing a fundraiser for the pilot. And it's got so many Star Trek alumni in it. Where is it? There we go. And if you would like to also be a backer, then you can go here to the backer kit. and you can back Manhattan Transfer. I talked to Bonnie Gordon about it. She's read the pilot. It is based on a book. She says the pilot is fantastic. It has got so many amazing Star Trek alum in it, including, of course, one of my favorites, Dominic Keating. But Doug Jones is in it. Tim Russ is in it. Walter Koenig is in it. John Billingsley's in it. He's another favorite. Not to mention, Casper Van Dien is the lead, and I think we all remember him from Starship Troopers. So it is, what is Manhattan Transfer on? Never heard of the show. You haven't heard of the, very good. And Robert, I trust you did not Google it. I said no Googling. So Robert, if you didn't Google it, you get 10 points. Excellent. Manhattan Transfer, you haven't heard of it because it ain't happened yet. They have a pilot script. It's ready to go. They are looking for donors right now. If you click on the link for the backer kit, there's a video there with Walter Koenig. He's going to explain everything to you. And they're looking for donors so that they can get the pilot made. And it's based on a book, and Bonnie Gordon's involved, and Dominic Keating's involved, John Billingsley involved, Doug Jones. Who doesn't love Doug Jones? Who doesn't want to see more Doug Jones? Maybe he won't even be in makeup. Who knows? I guess we're going to have to watch it to find out. John Billingsley, if you look it up on IMDb, John Billingsley's character's name is Malcolm. It's going to be great. Bonnie says the script is fantastic. So if you can, head over, use the QR code, head over and think about donating so that we can get the pilot made. And then hopefully that means that I've been trying to get Bonnie on the show. So hopefully, Doug hugs are the best hugs. If you've never met him, come to Las Vegas. I highly recommend getting a Doug hug. Oh, Dave, that's awesome. There you go. There you go. So go check it out. Go. It is a fabulous cast. I'm not gonna repeat myself again. But I think next week I want to kind of talk, guys. I want you to think about this for next week. I want you to think about what you like better. Star Trek fan projects, which bring together, which give us more stories within the Star Trek universe, not necessarily with Star Trek actors, but give us new stories to watch with our favorite characters, like Star Trek Continues does, or Of Gods and Men, which actually does have Walter in it. But do we like fan films, which are still a thing that can still happen? Do you like fan films? Or would you rather see new sci-fi projects that have Star Trek alum in them? So it wouldn't be a Star Trek story, but we would get to see some of our favorite actors in different mashups. Like this one's got Tim Russ and Doug Jones and John Billingsley and Dominic Keating and Bonnie Gordon so it's a neat little mashup. I'm not going to mention Unbelievable, the movie. I have never seen it, but I've heard from people that are in it that it's terrible. But it had these amazing intentions of having 40 Star Trek actors come together in one film. Kind of like the sci-fi version of It's a Mad, 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 Mad World, just nowhere near as good as It's a Mad, Mad, Mad World. Oh, cool. That's good to know. That's good to know. And honestly, I'd never heard of the book. Bonnie said the pilot looks great. Oh, that's awesome. Recently saw the solar eclipse in April, but on the trip, I've been slowly reading. That's awesome. That is awesome. Yes, that's actually Bonnie Franklin. Okay. All right. I got it. Bonnie Franklin, One Day at a Time, with the lovely Valerie Bertinelli, who was in Chomps with Wesley Ure, who was in Land of the Lost, which was written by Walter Koenig. One of the episodes was written by Walter Koenig. Another one was written by David Gerrold, who wrote Trouble with Tribbles. So there you go. So Bonnie to Valerie to Wesley to a bunch of Star Trek people. Oh, and Wesley also knew Lucille Ball, who's the godmother of Star Trek. So there you go. Ta-da! Bet you didn't think I could do that one, did you, Lasso? Oh, sweetie, it is true. Chomp. Oh my God, I watched it. It's an adorable movie about a little robot Benji. It's really cute. Wesley, Valerie Bertinelli's first on-screen kiss was with Wesley. Which you would know if you saw that episode. I do actually have an episode of you. I did interview Wesley Yore. So that episode is in my playlist. So if you want to check it out, it's in my interviews playlist. But yep, sorry, Lasso didn't stump me. Sorry. All right. So next week, think about it. Which would you rather have? More fan productions that continue stories within the Trek universe? Live action? Or would you rather have that or a different sci-fi production, but with some of your favorite Star Trek acts? I want to pet like Physic. Or would you rather have new productions, new stories, new sci-fi that reunites a bunch of Trek alum? Because that's what we're going to be talking about next week. I will have this QR code for you next week. Please make sure that you check it out. Walter's got stuff on his Twitter feed. So you can also go check out Twitter. But right now, before I go, just one more wish list. Just one more wish list post in case anybody missed it earlier. Like I said, I can't wait to go to Las Vegas. I'd love to see different productions with Trek talent. Yeah. I might be leaning that way. I haven't decided yet. I did do an entire show on fan productions, so I kind of know like the good, the bad, and the ugly of the fan productions. And I think some of them are fantastic. So, but I think I still lean towards. I think I still need to. I think I still agree with you, Dave, and you, War Dog, and Uncle Hairball. Look at that. All right. Well, the rest of you think about it. Thank you for scanning the QR code. Thank you for, and like I said, anybody that gets something off my, and these might not be the only things on the wish list. If I think of other things for the booth, but like I said, the booth is going to be pretty light and easy. And I can't wait to see whoever's going to be in Vegas. So be sure to stop by and say hi. Yeah, exactly. Some of the fan productions are fantastic, War Dog. So please make sure that you stop by and say hi. I don't know where I'm going to be. I won't know until I get there. This is all pending approval. Also, I do need to preface this on, they do have to approve you. I'm hoping that I get approved. So it does all depend on approval. So remember, if you send me something off my wish list, make sure you include your card. If I don't see a card, which hopefully it'll be a card, and then we could talk about your three choices, either live streaming or tickets to Trek Long Island or a little gifty to be named at a later date. And I'll keep you guys posted on the t-shirt designs and all the other cool stuff that I'm going to be working on. Oh, and here's the other thing. I'm pretty sure I have decided on what I'm going to do for my season finale. So I always start around when Star Trek Enterprise premiered. So I thought, well, why don't I close the season around when these are the voyages, the last episode. So according to IMDb, the last episode, and according to every place else I looked, the last episode was May 13th, which happens to be on a Monday this year. So unless I get like a super amazing guest star that can't do anything before the 13th, the season is going to end on the 13th, which is going to give me plenty of time to, oh, look who's coming to say hi. Plenty of time. Say hi to Zod, everybody. Zod, say hi. Kneel before Zod. That's what he wants. He's here to say kneel before Zod. So that's what it's going to look like. So mark your calendars for the very last day of this season is going to be the 13th. Lasso says meow. Myth. Let's see. I was listening to recent Larry podcast, Trek Files episode on the original concept for Dr. Crusher, Picard, and Wesley. It's interesting how different that relationship could have been. Yeah. Yeah, it really is interesting what they all think at the beginning. Make with I love that make with the scritches before Zod. I love that. That's awesome. He does also act like a general. He does try to muscle everybody else. I think a lot of it, and it's good that it's fluid because you write stuff on paper, you think how you want your characters to act, and then you put the actors together and you write a few shows and then you watch how they interact with each other, and then things start to get fluid and you're like, you know what? Really kind of like the way that this is going, and this isn't what the original intent was, but this is what we're going to do. You didn't waste an outfit giving us these announcements. Oh. Thanks, JR. I did a short. I got dressed up to go out on Saturday night. So I'm like, I look camera ready. Why am I going to waste it? Is he like the general that tries to sell auto insurance? You do realize for that, Non's going to be knocking at your door, Lasso. For that, it's not going to be Shaq. It's going to be Non. Sorry. But yeah, in fact, what was there was something. Okay. To your point about relationships. I'm a huge ER fan. And trust me, I can do ER. I can do ER in one. I can do ER in one. Eric Pierpoint and Connor Trinneer both did the same episode. They didn't see each other, but Connor Trinneer and Eric Pierpoint were in the same episode. So that's one. But Juliana Margulies' character tried to commit suicide in the first episode, and she was supposed to die. But there was something in the way that George Clooney looked at her, and that there was just something, and they're like, no, you know what? She's going to live, and there's going to be a thing. And that was the smartest decision, because that was my favorite relationship throughout the entire series, was Doug and Carol. So it's amazing that the writers have some idea of what they want, but then when the actors get together and they bring something special to the characters, and then the writers just kind of flow with it. I've got another analogy for that in a second. I thought it was interesting that Dr. Crusher could have been a teacher rather than a doctor, and Wesley could have been a girl. I had heard that they were thinking about Wesley with it. Oh, Chase Masterson was also in an episode of ER. ER was so good. I was hooked on it back then. Yes, early ER was fantastic. I thought George Clooney was amazing. I thought the fact that he came back for Juliana's last episode when everybody was saying that he wasn't going to, I thought that was a beautiful thing. And I love that song, that Don Henley song that they played. I bought the CD based on that episode. There was another one. Oh, all right. This one's actually science fiction. So the episode Dalek of Doctor Who was the first. It was the first of the new ones, 2005. Christopher Eccleston. There was an episode called Dalek where the Doctor confronts the Daleks. He hasn't seen them. He thought they were all destroyed in the Time War, and he finds out that there's a Dalek being held prisoner on Earth. And there's this huge speech that he gives that he's screaming at the Dalek. And I met the guy that wrote that. The guy that wrote that is Robert Shearman. And I had the pleasure. He was one of my first interviews. I had the pleasure of interviewing Robert. And he did this amazing little, they showed I met him at an event, and they showed Dalek, and he kind of did like live DVD commentary. And the one thing he said was he wrote that speech with a different tone in his head, a completely different, like, I think it was like a sarcastic tone in his head. He's like, this is what Christopher Eccleston took it, read it, and took the speech in a completely different direction with this fury, this pent-up anger. And Robert Shearman had to throw his hands up and go, you're right. You're right. I wrote it, but you're right. So it's just amazing what the actors can do with their characters, and a smart writer that knows which way that it should go. I thought it was let's see. Early ER was so good. Oh, that's interesting. And yes, she was. Yes, she was the one and only Alex Kingston. First place I saw her. I met her at a convention and I actually talked to her about ER. I said, I love River Song. So I love River Song. I said, but I cannot listen to that reggae version of Somewhere Over the Rainbow because it was the last thing that her husband Mark was listening to when he died, and Mark Green, and I said I can't listen to it anymore. So we kind of commiserated over that. And I told her I loved her interactions with Peter when she and Peter Benton were dating. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's exactly a smart writers and smart producers and smart directors. They just know, and they're willing to be fluid, and they're willing to go with the flow. And it's been a while, guys, since we went over an hour. This is awesome. Yeah, exactly. R.I.P. Dr. Green. That was so beautiful and so sad. And I'm not kidding. I can't listen to that version anymore. All right, guys. Kyle and Myth, it was wonderful having you. Please come back. Think about what you like, fan productions or Star Trek alum and other productions. Can't wait to see you all next week for my show. I actually have a theme, so it'll be awesome. All this stuff's going to change. The new titles and everything are going to be out. Can't wait to see everybody in Vegas. Can't wait to see you all again next week. And until then, I'll see you around the galaxy.
You've been listening to the NX7062